Hey, this is Chris from StockSpot, Australia's largest online investment advisor. And in this video, I'd like to talk about the 10 reasons why you should pay attention to your super. And I think it's pretty topical. One, at this time of year, because everyone's about to get their annual super statements. But two, because we're about to launch our own StockSpot super offering. And I think Australians really don't pay much attention to their super compared to what they should be. We've got $3.5 trillion of super here, and yet very few people are switching or making moves to better funds. Here's why I think you should be considering keeping a close eye on your super. And the first reason is that it's your money. So this is money that is yours. Even though you can't touch it for a while, it's the second largest pot of money for most Australians after their primary place of residence. Most countries don't have a super system or a pension system anywhere near as good as ours, and so they don't get to touch this sort of money when they retire. They have to work hard, much later in their lives. That's one good reason. It's your money. You want to make the most of it. The second reason is just because you can't touch it now doesn't mean it's not worth caring about. Look, this is money you can't touch until you're in your 60s, but therefore, it's money you want to be making the most of now so you can have a great lifestyle when you reach that point. The third reason is you've actually got the power to direct where it's invested, and that's an awesome right that everyone has, and you should be exercising that right. In the early days of super, we didn't have that choice of where our super is going, which fund we're directing it to, what sort of investments they're investing in, what's their investment approach or philosophy, are we aligned with that approach? These days, you can make all of those choices yourself. So exercise that right to choose where your super is invested. The fourth reason is the great tax environment super's in. So unlike when you earn money in your salary, or even when you're returning capital gains from the shares or interest from your bank account, super is highly tax efficient. Tax going into super is pretty low. Tax while your super is growing is low. And then once you reach retirement, tax coming out of your super to enjoy your lifestyle is also low. So this is money that can really grow and compound very fast because it's in a favorable tax environment. The next one is that Australians are living longer, and so therefore you're going to need this money for a longer period of time. If you retire in your 60s, there's a good chance you're going to need this money until your 80s or 90s or hopefully 100s by the time we get older. That's a lot of time you need to cover expenses and live off and enjoy travel and spend on other things. If you don't have enough money, you're going to have to use government money to be able to enjoy the life you want then. So you need to focus on it now. You don't want to wait till you're 60 and you're already regretting decisions you've made in your 30s because you haven't made sensible choices with your super and you don't have enough money to live off for the next 20, 30 or 40 years. Number 6 is actually, if you've saved up a lot of super, it actually might help you retire earlier. And I think a lot of people don't consider this one. It's possibly going to take years off your working life and allow you to go and enjoy travel and other things much earlier if you've actually built up a big super balance. And unfortunately, I see lots of people who regret in their late 60s that they can't retire earlier because they still need to save and they haven't built up enough super. So it can cut years off your working life and allow you to enjoy the sorts of things you want to enjoy a few years before you might have been able to otherwise. Number 7 is that even if you don't use this money in retirement, it's money that you'll be able to use to help others, your family members, your kids. It doesn't have to always go towards your retirement. Obviously, once you pull it out of your super, you can use it for other purposes. So think about your family legacy and helping your kids and family in the future. Making great decisions when you're younger for your super will help you do that later on. Number 8 is it's very easy to switch these days. So years ago, super funds made it really, really difficult to change funds. These days, you can just go onto the MyGov website, and all Australians have access to that website because that's where you go to lodge your tax or access other government services. Actually consolidating super you can now do on the MyGov website as well. So there's no excuses not to do it because the government's made it very, very easy to do. Number 9 is that it is such a big asset for you. So potentially making the decision to go in the wrong fund early in life could cost you $250,000 based on our super fat cat fund research. And I'll put the research below in the comment section. $250,000, that's probably 10 trips around the world on first class or even more. That's a lot of money you don't want to waste. And that's why it's an important decision to make early and to make sure you're in the right fund. And finally, the last reason why you should absolutely care about your super now is that if you don't care about it, no one else is going to care about it. You're the only person that can actually make great choices about your super and action changes early in life. So exercise that right, make a great decision, educate yourself about what the right investment approach is, what's the right sort of fund for you, and you'll be very happy with that decision much later in your life.